So I'll call the East Lyme Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Today is September 16, 2015. If you all please could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I know we did it once. Let's do it again. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wonderful. Additional agenda and consent calendar items? Are there any? I don't believe so. Delegations. Anybody wish to speak to the commission on any items? Sir? Yes. You come on up and state your name and your address.
John DeSantis, 7 Quarry Lane. I got some issues I just want to mention. One is the impact of traffic and the accidents that we've been having in the town, more frequent than in the past. The burden of the overbuilding in town, the burden to the residents of the traffic, not being able to get home, no fault of the town people, obviously, but through whatever happens with the traffic. The impact regards to the future, regards to the overbuilding with hiring firemen, policemen, and maintenance, which are doing a good job in town, that are going to be overburdened, and what would be the cost to hire additional help to handle all the overbuilding going on. The next thing is we're going to have an increase of tax every year, which we have in a mill rate. The debt bonds are coming due, reevaluation in school costs. There's 4 entities there. My other pet peeve is the playground, which they want to build off of Roxbury Road, which is adjacent to Quarry Lane, which we'd have a death on Quarry Lane and 3 hit and runs. I have 150 signatures of people opposed to that. We don't need another playground in town. We have enough of that already. The signatures I have in a petition, the town clerk couldn't answer my question how long they'll be good for. What's going to be the cost to the town to run it in the future with the overbuilding coming and possibly Costco coming, and the impact of that to the town? A lot of the buildings going on in the last 5 years, including Gateway, is going to produce no taxpayers if they're rentals. I don't know if they are or are not rentals. If they have children going there, how many children are they going to have? Who's going to pay the $11,000 a year approximately to pay for these children to go to school if they're not paying taxes? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. DeSantis. Anyone else like to speak to the commission? Or to the board, shall I say? Yes.
Rocco Tricarico, 17 Rose Lane. I didn't intend to speak it, but the previous speaker took some of my thoughts away. As you know, I wrote an article to the Day last week. Some of you may have seen it, concerning the traffic issues in East Lyme and around the state of Connecticut. So far, I've tried to contact some of our state officials, and I haven't gotten any response. I really believe, since the burden really falls on taxpayers of East Lyme and our EMS services and first responders to respond to a lot of the accidents on 95, that we ought to convene a regional summit, at least to talk about some short-term and long-term solutions to make that road safer. Right now, I-95 is, you're taking your life in your hands when you drive that road. And for those of us who work out of Southeast Connecticut, I commute to New Britain every day. My wife commutes to New Haven. I have many colleagues who commute back and forth. This is our lifeline to the world. It's our economic lifeline. It's our personal lifeline. And it's just not acceptable that on a regular basis we're cut off from the rest of the world because of bad policy, frankly, bad transportation policy, lack of enforcement, lack of activity. I travel that section of the road where we had the recent fatalities every day. I've yet to see a police officer or a state trooper stationed on that side of the road since the date of the accident. You would think there would have been heightened security, heightened awareness, heightened enforcement. Nothing's happened. Trucks still stay in the left lane. People from out of state are cutting people off, speeding through the area. Trucks basically run you off the road. If our state officials aren't going to do anything, then as a local municipality, and I said this when I was on the Board of Finance, it's costing us the money to send our police, fire, ambulance out to those sites. If the state's not willing to work with us, then the state ought to respond and let us off the hook. It's time for the state and to get our delegation engaged and to start talking with stakeholders about making some real improvements to make those roads safer. And I think we could start at the local level. If we wait for Hartford, nothing will happen. I think we need to make some noise, and I think we need to get organized. And then finally, regarding traffic in town, for years we've talked about the idea of a shuttle bus between the north end of town and down to the beaches in the summertime. For those families, for those of us who live in Chesterfield, off Chesterfield Road, Boston Post Road, who have children who don't drive, it is really difficult. We essentially have two separate towns. Those that live and can walk to the beaches, get to the beaches, kids are safe, kids have a place to go during the day. For those of us who live on the other end of town, we have to find rides for the kids. They have to drive bikes down very dangerous streets. It's a hardship to everyone. It would cost very little money. We have the vans in the summertime. We transport other people around town. There's no reason we can't set up a system for a couple of runs each day in the morning and then in the afternoon from Flanders Four Corners down to the beach and back again. We pay taxes on our end of town just like everyone else does, but yet our kids are denied the right to use certain recreational resources in town because they simply can't get there, and it's not fair. I think we could find a solution, and I think and it wouldn't cost the taxpayers much. In fact, kids would pay to do that. They just want to spend time together. And the other thing it does is it alleviates traffic issues because McCook right now is going to be overburdened with cars. Where are people going to park? As all these other projects come online, more and more people are subscribing to get parking passes. The parking lots are overfilled. We should be encouraging people not to be driving to McCook's rather than driving down there. So I would hope that between now and next summer, we can implement something that would make it easier to get from one end of town to the other. Thank you.
Anyone else? Bill?
Bill Henderson, 49 Laurel Hill Drive, Niantic, Connecticut. Rocco and I were both commiserating about the same issue. I travel to New Haven every day, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. 3 Saturdays ago, we had accidents on both sides of 95, and it pretty much crippled this end of the state from anybody getting from one end of the state to the other. 95 is the only real artery we have. When that situation happened, to put an unbelievable pressure on our side roads and local roads, Main Street all the way back to the Saybrook Bridge. And I think that I can't. I don't know what the solution is, but I think it's going to take a solution of all the towns between here and Saybrook, New London, all the way from the Groton Bridge to the Saybrook Bridge, to come up with some kind of solution to this problem. I think there's I'm not saying it's one issue. I think it's multiple issues. We have exits that shouldn't be there, on-ramps that shouldn't be there, and we have slowing down traffic, fast traffic, through traffic, mixed in with local traffic. And I think that this is causing us a lot of harm and a lot of a risk of life and injury, plus our emergency services that are being overwhelmed. We couldn't get through Main Street in Niantic when that accident happened last month on the Saturday. It was completely it was gridlocked, and God forbid if we ever had to get a fireman down there, fire engine, or an ambulance. So, I think we've lived with it long enough. We're seeing it get worse. It's not going to get better. And on Saturdays and Sundays and on Fridays and Sundays in the summertime, 95 is a hazard, and we have to bring attention to it. And I think our town, if we have to be the spearhead to do it, let's do it. Thank you.
Saw a couple hands back there. Jim?